And as you see on this plan, here are the Winter Gardens. So, the Winter Gardens. Eastbourne's Devonshire Park opened in July the 1st, 1874, as a cricket ground, as I've already shown you. And soon proposals were afoot for putting an amazing glass and iron building on the site. And the first mention of the Winter Garden appears in the 7th Duke's diary, and that was on the 6th of May 1874, when he said, "I had a long talk with Curry and his brother Henry and Insull about some Eastbourne matters, chiefly about putting up a building of the same kind as the pavilion in the Buxton Gardens." Now, Buxton already had a big glass conservatory, and so the Duke decided he would do exactly the same thing in Eastbourne. And this building was designed by Henry Curry, his architect, and the lower level floral hall, which is what you all know is still called the floral hall down here, which had a glass roof and conservatory type walls which could be thrown open into the park, was a banqueting hall, but also a roller skating rink. And these people here have all got their roller skates on, and there was a big outside roller skating rink, and people could glide from outside to the inside and listen to Herr Wolf's band playing up in the gallery. And it was opened by the inventor of the roller skate, J.C. Plimpton. So originally roller skates were called Plimpton skates. You can see perhaps the similarity of built form, the roof shapes, with the earlier farmhouse at Kew. Quite interesting, you've got this round barrel-vaulted roof for the floral hall, and you've got a square-ended, hipped roof for the upper-level pavilion. And the floral hall was opened in November 1875, before the upper level was completed, as we saw in that photograph looking across from just above the Grand Hotel. The pavilion was opened in July the 8th, 1876, and the pavilion was opened as a concert hall. And the Duke of Devonshire founded an orchestra, the Duke of Devonshire's Eastbourne Orchestra, to play in that building, and it became the first symphonic-sized orchestra in the country. We still could have had a symphony orchestra, but Bournemouth kept theirs on, and we didn't. There's the inside of the floral hall. Magnificent iron and glass structure, but also with zinc panels, so it was semi-glazed, really. The original intention was that it should be completely glazed, but I think there was a change made soon after that, and so there were panels of zinc by a French company, and all the panels had decoration. Cast iron columns, no wet trades above floor level, it was a kit of parts bolted together. Timber beams, wrought iron trusses, and a very elegant, light and airy structure, with a gallery where you've got the band playing to the skaters gliding around below. Lots of plants and palms. And the Illustrated London News of 1881 said that the floral hall, like a miniature crystal palace, wore the appearance of one of the enchanted palaces to be read of in the Arabian Nights. But there it is, another view, looking up to Earp's Folly in the background here. Newly built St John's Church, 1869. Here is the skating rink, and here are people enjoying a cricket match in the cricket ground. So it was always, the Devonshire Park, going to be a combination of park and sports ground. And that sort of conflict still exists today. One feels when you're entering the Devonshire Park that maybe you shouldn't be there, it's a sports ground. But this combination of these two different things was always part of the joy of the park. This was in the Eastbourne Gazette of November the 4th, 1874. And what it said is, from time to time we have made our readers acquainted with this project. of the building of the Winter Garden. And we now have the satisfaction of informing them that the building is now in the course of erection from the plans of Mr. Henry Curry. And the building measures 150 foot each way, and the height to the summit of the central vane is 85 feet. It contains a large winter garden, skating rink, 150 foot long by 50 foot, laid with an asphalt floor by Mr. Pilkington, refreshment saloons, billiard rooms, concert hall, and the whole thing built by the principal of Messrs. Fletcher and Louds. So another early shot of the floral hall, and interestingly enough, this is the end facing west, which originally didn't have a veranda around it. You can see that the park is just outside, and the veranda came a little bit later. Here is a view of the concert hall in the upper level pavilion, and you can see how basic a structure it was, with all the structure exposed and expressed. Very simple match-boarded timber walls, tubular wrought iron columns, enlivened with some stripy decoration like a Venetian pole on the waterfront. And then here was Eastbourne's chief entertainment stage for orchestras. Outside, an early photograph here shows people taking tea on the rink. Quite a nice little shot. And once again, the veranda stopped here, and the roof came straight down onto the ground, and later on the veranda was built out as it exists today. Fletcher and Louds' patent tubular roofing system was also used on the Winter Gardens at Bournemouth, but they've been demolished, and the Winter Garden at Eastbourne is now a very rare building type of a Victorian winter garden. And it's going to be partly restored at the front as part of the current refurbishment and redevelopment works, as long as there's enough money for it at the end of the project. So it's the end of the list, which is always slightly worrying. Some views that we drew up, my practice drew up, when there was a consideration of the restoration of the building. That was in 1987. That's the side view. That's the view to the park with the Minstrels Gallery. And that's the view to the road. And this double pitch roof here should be reconstructed as part of the current Devonshire Park improvement works. And I hope it is. At the moment, there's a really rather ugly 1960s elevation here, which is all falling apart, and the glass panels are about to fall out. The proposal is to reconstruct this pitched roof. But it has developed, this building. Originally, the front entrance was only a single-storey building, and the upper parts were bolted on later. And this is the sort of decoration when the roof was refurbished about 15 years ago, and we researched into the sort of ironwork decoration that the roof would have had. This is the ridge frieze, and this is the main balustrade around the turrets, and they're in cast iron by Walter Macfarlane and Company, based on the original patterns, and other things such as the flagpole and weather vane. So we're very lucky in Eastbourne to have our winter garden. It's now a Grade 2 listed building, and we very much look forward to seeing it enhanced. But that was, of course, not the only building. In 1884,